This would have gone viral in 1955. Not in theory, not as a joke. I mean, it would have actually broken the internet, if the internet had existed yet. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you're going to look at old photographs completely differently. Picture it. A Friday night sometime in the summer of 1955. No phones, no apps, no little red notification bubble pulling at your attention every 6 seconds. And yet, somehow, people were already living like they were building a feed. They just didn't know it yet. Because here's the thing nobody tells you. Instagram didn't invent the moment. It just gave the moment a name. So let's do something fun. Let's imagine 1955 had Instagram. Not as a gimmick, as a real exercise. Because once you start looking at that decade through that lens, you can't stop. Start with the posts, the actual grid, no selfies. Nobody in 1955 was holding a camera at arm's length, chasing the right angle of their own face. The camera pointed outward, at the world, not inward. So what fills the grid instead? A two-tone Chevy parked nose first into a drive-in, chrome catching the last of the evening light. A family of 5 crammed into a station wagon, trays hooked to both windows, milkshakes sweating in the August heat. A neon sign buzzing to life right as the sky turns that deep blue right before full dark. The kind of blue that only lasts about 4 minutes. A diner sign on the side of a 2-lane highway glowing red against a sky with absolutely nothing else in it for miles. And the captions, if you can even call them that, would be almost embarrassingly simple. No hashtags stacked 20 deep. No link in bio. Just Friday night at the drive-in. Route 66 vibes, burgers and the radio on. That's it. That's the whole caption. Because the photo was already doing all the work. Nobody needed to convince you it was beautiful. You could just see it. Now picture the Reels tab. The motion. The thing that makes you stop scrolling. Instead of a 15-second trending dance, you've got a car hop on roller skates, gliding between cars with a full tray balanced on one hand, not spilling a drop like it's nothing. Like she's done it 10,000 times, because she has. A long, slow shot down an empty highway at golden hour. Heat shimmering just above the asphalt. A single car disappearing toward the horizon. Neon flickering on, one tube at a time, until the whole sign finally locks into a steady glow. A windshield view of telephone poles ticking past, one after another, the kind of shot that makes your chest do something you can't quite name. No fast cuts. No trending audio. Just slow, cinematic, almost accidental beauty. Shot on film, that grain and all, that nobody back then thought twice about, because that's just what the camera looked like. If you posted that exact same reel today, slow motion, vintage film grain, a single neon sign flickering against a darkening sky, it would stop people mid-scroll. It would rack up views. Not because it's clever. Because it's honest. Because there's nothing fighting for your attention except the moment itself. And then there's the stuff that wouldn't even make the main grid. The throwaway moments. The stories. We stopped for burgers on Route 66. Gas station break, 15 minutes until we're back on the road. Tonight's drive-in movie starts at 8. Nothing dramatic, nothing trying too hard. Just a quiet, ongoing record of an ordinary day that, looked at now decades later, feels like something out of a postcard. That's the part that gets me. None of it was curated. Nobody was thinking, this will look good later. They were just living a Tuesday, a regular gas station stop, a regular dinner in the car, and it turned out to be the most photogenic decade in American memory, completely by accident. Here's where it gets really interesting. Think about who, or what, actually goes viral in this version of 1955. It's not a person. There's no influencer standing in front of the camera, no personal brand, no face attached to the moment. It's the place. The drive-in itself becomes the star, not the car hop, not the customer, the building, the sign, the smell of grease in the air that you can't photograph but can somehow still feel in the picture. A diner on a stretch of empty highway racks up the imaginary likes, not because of who owns it, because of what it is, a glowing little island of light and color in the middle of nowhere, open all night waiting for the next car to pull in. Today, We build entire platforms around personal branding, around faces, around who's behind the account. But in 1955, the moment didn't need a face attached to it to matter. The place was enough. The feeling was enough. And maybe that's worth sitting with for a second. Now scroll down, read the comments under that drive-in photo. No bots, no arguments in the replies. No first. Just neighbors, actual neighbors, people who'd see each other at church on Sunday writing things like, "We were there last week too. Best onion rings in 3 counties. My dad used to take us here when I was your age. Tell your mother that pie recipe better make it into the church cookbook this year." Under the highway shot, someone from 2 states over leaves a comment that just says, "Drove that same stretch last summer. Stopped at that exact gas station." Small world. There's no engagement farming. Nobody's commenting to be seen. They're commenting because they actually have something to say, because the photo reminded them of something real, and they wanted the person who took it to know that. Compare that to now. We scroll past 100 photos a day, and maybe stop to comment on one. Back then, every comment would have felt like running into someone you know at the grocery store. Small, warm, completely unbothered by the idea that strangers might be watching. Let's follow one night all the way through, just to see how it would have looked on the feed. 6:45 p.m. A post, a station wagon pulling into the county fairground, dust still settling behind the back tires. Caption, "We made it." 7:20 p.m. A story, a hand holding a paper cone of cotton candy, Ferris wheel lights blurred in the background. No caption needed. 7:50 p.m. A reel, the slow creak and clatter of the Ferris wheel climbing, the whole fairground unfolding below. String lights, a marching band somewhere in the distance. Kids running between game booths with stuffed animals half their size. 8:30 p.m. A post from 3 towns over. Different family, same fair, same lights, captioned simply, "Tradition." 9:15 p.m. A story. A couple slow dancing near the bandstand, her dress catching the breeze, his hand at the small of her back. The photo slightly blurred because whoever took it didn't want to interrupt the moment to steady their hands. 10 p.m. The last post of the night. Taillights pulling out of a gravel lot. Fairground lights shrinking in the rearview mirror. Caption, "See you next year." Nobody choreographed any of that. Nobody scouted the location or waited for good lighting. It just happened in order, the way an ordinary summer night happens. And if you laid it out as a feed, it would look like the most beautifully art-directed story anyone had ever told. Except no one directed it. Life did. So ask yourself something. If the most photogenic, most nostalgic, most romanticized era in American memory happened without a single camera phone in sight, what does that say about what we've actually been chasing this whole time? Maybe it was never about the platform. Maybe Instagram didn't create beauty. It just gave us a place to put it. Because long before filters, before captions, before anyone typed the word aesthetic into a search bar, there were people leaning against a chrome bumper at golden hour, laughing at something nobody filmed in a moment that existed for them and only them, and was never meant to be seen by anyone else. And somehow, that makes it more beautiful, not less. There's something almost sad about it if you think about it too long. All that beauty and no one to show it to but the people standing right there in it. No record, no proof, just memory. But maybe that's exactly why it still hits us now. Because it wasn't performed. It wasn't built for an audience. It just happened, and we're the ones lucky enough to be looking back at it. 1955 didn't need an app to be unforgettable. It didn't need a feed to be worth remembering. It was already a perfect frame decades before anyone built a screen to hold it. We didn't invent this kind of beauty. We just gave it a name and a place to live forever. So next time you scroll past a picture that makes your chest ache a little, slows you down, makes you wish you'd been there, remember, someone in 1955 already had that feeling. They just called it a Friday night. Instagram didn't exist back then. But the aesthetic already did. We didn't invent aesthetic culture. We just renamed it. 1955 was already Instagrammable. It just had to wait 70 years for the rest of us to catch up. If this took you somewhere, drop a comment with the decade you wish you could have lived in. And subscribe, because we're going back in time every week, one moment at a time.